It is an hour before sunrise on the northern plains, summer of 1855. In a camp of 80 teepees along the Powder River, a young man slips out into the cold darkness while his family sleeps. He climbs the nearest hill, faces east, and waits. When the first light breaks over the grassland, he raises his pipe and begins to pray, alone, barefoot, in silence. This is how every single day of his life begins. By the time most soldiers at the nearest fort wake up, this man will have prayed, bathed in an icy river, and run miles. Welcome to a day in the life of a Lakota warrior. The river comes next, and it comes every morning, in July and in January. The warrior walks to the water, breaks the ice if he has to, and plunges in. This is not hygiene. It is training. Lakota men believed cold water hardened the body and burned away weakness, and children were brought to the river from the age of 4 or 5. Visitors wrote in disbelief about men standing calmly in freezing water while steam rose off their shoulders. A body that fears cold, the elders said, will one day fear an enemy. So the fear was removed one freezing morning at a time. Back in camp, the smell of morning cooking drifts between the teepees: boiled buffalo meat, marrow bones, berry soup. But before the warrior eats, he sees to something more important than his own stomach, his horses. A Lakota man's wealth, reputation, and survival all stood on 4 legs. He checks their hooves, runs his hands down their legs, whispers to them. His favorite war horse, the one trusted in battle, often grazed tied right beside the teepee, like a member of the family. Feed your horse before yourself, the saying went. A man on foot on the plains was already half dead. Mid-morning belongs to what looks like play and is actually war school. Young men gather for wrestling, foot races, and horse races with betting loud enough to wake the whole camp. Boys fight mock battles with blunt arrows, learning to dodge and shoot at a dead run. There is the hoop game, a small ring rolled across the ground at speed while players fire arrows through it, moving target practice disguised as sport. Every game in a Lakota camp built a military skill: aim, balance, endurance, nerve. There were no barracks and no drill sergeants. There was something better: constant, joyful competition. By midday, scouts have found what the camp has been waiting for: buffalo, a small herd grazing 2 hours west. The hunt is not a free-for-all, it is regulated like a military operation. The Akachita, the Camp Police Society, ride the lines to hold back any hunter tempted to charge early. One man breaking the line could stampede the herd and starve 30 families, and for that a hunter could have his weapons broken in front of everyone. When the signal comes, the riders sweep in together. Our warrior takes 2 buffalo with 3 arrows. A good afternoon. Tonight the whole circle of teepees will eat. While the meat comes into camp, look at the other half of this world, because the warrior's day only works on top of it. Women own the teepees, literally, the lodge, its furnishings. Most of the food stores belong to the wife, and a husband can find his belongings set outside the door if he fails her. Women butcher, tan hides, sew, gather, cook, and hold real power in camp decisions. A warrior with all his feathers still stepped carefully around a respected grandmother. Hollywood invented the silent squaw. The Lakota knew better. The camp itself was a woman's kingdom. In the late afternoon, the men gather in the council lodge, and the day turns political. A rider has come from a neighboring band. Crow horse raiders have been seen near the herds. Around the circle the pipe passes sunwise, and no man speaks until it reaches him, the plains version of parliamentary procedure, older than any parliament. Chiefs among the Lakota do not command, they persuade. A leader who loses the people's trust simply looks behind him one day and finds no one following. Tonight the council decides, a war party will ride against the Crow. Our warrior will be among them. Understand what war means here, because it is nothing like European war. The Lakota did not fight to annihilate enemies or seize cities. They fought for horses, for hunting grounds, for revenge, and above all, for honor. The bravest act was not killing a man but touching him, riding through arrows to strike a living enemy with a bare hand or a coup stick and ride away. Counting coup, it was called, and it ranked above any kill. War was dangerous, deadly serious, and at the same time the great game by which a man built his name. Glory belonged to the boldest, not the most brutal. As the sun drops, the warrior prepares. He strips his gear to almost nothing: bow, quiver, knife, a shield of thick buffalo hide painted with the design given to him in a dream and that shield's power, the Lakota insisted, came from the painting, not the leather. He ties his medicine bundle into his hair, a stone, a feather, fragments of a vision no other man knows. Then the paint, not decoration, but spiritual armor, each mark carrying a meaning. Watching him, you understand, this man is not dressing for battle. He is dressing for the possibility of death, and he intends to meet it prepared. They ride out in darkness, 8 men, on their fastest horses, moccasins padded, every piece of gear tied down silent. A Lakota raid is a special forces operation, approach at night, strike at dawn, vanish. They walk the last mile, leading the horses. In the gray light, 3 of them slip among the crow herd while the others watch the lodges. The best horses are staked beside their owners' teepees, cutting one loose within arm's reach of a sleeping enemy is the ultimate prize. A whistle. A rush of hooves. By the time the crow camp is awake, 40 horses are gone into the morning mist. The return is thunder and joy. The raiders sweep into camp driving the captured herd, singing, and the whole village pours out to meet them. Tonight there will be a victory dance, the warriors' deeds will be acted out around the fire and witnesses will confirm every claim, the Lakota version of an after-action report, because unverified boasting could end a reputation. Our warrior gives away 5 of his new horses on the spot, 2 to a widow, 3 to families with none. Generosity, not accumulation, is what makes a man great here. Wealth is proven by what you can afford to give away. And late that night, when the drums finally quiet, the warrior sits at the fire with his children and does the day's last duty, he teaches. Stories of white buffalo calf woman, of trickster Iktomi, of grandfather's battles, entertainment that is really law, history, and religion braided together. He knows things we forget when we picture warriors, that he will spend far more of his life hunting, praying, joking, and raising children than fighting. U.S. officers who fought the Lakota called them the finest light cavalry on earth. The Lakota would have said something simpler: we were a people, not an army. One day, one camp, one man, and inside it, an entire civilization, athletic training sharper than any barracks, democracy older than the frontier, logistics, theology, and an economy of generosity. That world was broken within a single generation, but it was never erased. Today Lakota communities still sundance, still speak the language, still ride. Next on this channel, the Apache childhood that forged the toughest fighters on the continent, and the real story of scalping, who actually started it, will surprise you. Subscribe, because the true history of the plains is deeper than the legend, and we are just getting started.